Hi everyone, welcome back to Attack of the Grey Pile. Today, in the spirit of Space Marine 2's update, I'll be painting a Winged Tyranid Prime. This is going to be a bit of a collab between myself and another channel, Complexus Autista, where we each paint one in a color scheme that's new to us as individual artists. I'll be sure to include a link to his video in the description down below when he posts his. Let's get into it. You know what I hate? Assembling mini. That was quick. Now we know it all fits, let's tear it apart and prepare it for paint.
Why are you the way that you are?
Remember, it's always good to test fit your parts prior to getting into a project. Last thing you want to do is waste a boatload of time painting something that doesn't even fit together. Now that I've done that, I'm going to base coat black.
A few moments later.
Now that I've applied my black base coat, I can start to set the highlights for this paint scheme. I'll be doing this with a very bright white and some yellow. I plan to use Tesseract Glow as a contrast paint to try and draw out the carapace and really make it pop.
5 minutes later.
For these details, I'm using the absolute tip of my brush and just barely touching the surface, as I want these to be sharp lines.
A little longer than a few minutes later.
Now that we have our Winged Tyranid Prime dressed as an honorary member of the Cherry Poppin' Daddies in a zoot suit, we can finally get the main color on this carapace. Please be good, 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 please, 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 please. Oh yeah, that's what I want. Now, I'm realizing my mistake. I probably should have dry brushed the skin first. So let's backtrack a little bit.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Alright, I know what you're gonna say. Put the cart before the horse. Sorry, I got carried away. Bite me. So, what I'm gonna be doing here is I'm dry brushing a gray with a very rich green mixed together to pick out the highlights of the skin so it all ties together with the overall color palette. As you can see, I'm being rather delicate with this application. I'm not trying to overly saturate it. I just want to add a little bit of seasoning, you know? Just that chef's kiss. Just like that, the main body's done. Time for the limbs. Now for the actual flap of the wing, what I want to try and do is give it a bit of a night sky sort of effect, but I'm going to be using green as the base tone, so it's going to be a dark green with a couple of spots of like brighter green within it. Now to help give it a more natural, random appearance, I'm going to be using my brush and flicking it across a guitar string at first, and then realize the resistance is enough, I swap to a toothpick. And so what it's going to do is it's going to help spray those white spots just randomly all over the place, and really give it a more natural look, because I really don't want to run into that problem where it looks too planned. Here you can see I accidentally brushed the white paint directly onto the wing, so I'm using some water to try and dilute it, and then I can go back and touch it up with the black. Remember, if you're trying to do this application to the wings, do it to both sides, the interior and exterior. Now that I've prepared both wings, I can start to apply this transparent green. I'm really excited with how this is going to turn out, and I can't wait to see the final result. With the wings set aside to dry, I am now moving on to paint the arms. Following the same premise as the main body, this is a rather straightforward painting process. My only concern is that ensuring the fine lines on the carapace are fine enough, yet strong enough, that they can be seen and are readable to the naked eye. Following my usual steps for painting a Tyranid, I'm painting these tears in the skin white so that I can enhance their overall contrast with the rest of the model. I plan to use some really unusual paint later that I think will push this model over the edge. For the finishing touch on the arms, I want to highlight the edges of the sides. This will really make them pop when I apply the color coat next. With the wings now dry, I can go back and touch up the skin surfaces just before applying the dry brush details. I want to be extra careful at this point because I don't want to have this black paint spill back over the green that I already applied. With my touch-ups completed, now I can start dry brushing the skin tone. This is going to be done to the arms and the wings so that then it all ties together with the rest of the model. Once that's complete, then I can start painting the carapace on the arms to tie in with the carapace of the body. I'm really enjoying the painting process so far, and I really can't wait to see the finished product. If you like what you're seeing, consider hitting a like, maybe dropping a comment, or even subscribing. It would really help the channel out a lot. Also, consider checking out Complexus Autista. He really helped me out with this one. Now to apply the secret sauce. What I'm applying here is a neon glow-in-the-dark green paint. I really wanted to try and add this to one of my models. I've had this stuff sitting on the shelf forever, and I've got like a whole array of these different colors, and I really wanted to see them put to the test here. So I hope you guys enjoy what I've been doing here with it, and I really hope you guys like the end result. Now I can start putting it back together on the base, and I can tell you I am overjoyed with the results. Talking about the base, time to paint the base. We're going to prime in white, we're going to top that with a mid-tone red, then a slightly brighter red, then we're going to top that with an orange, and once all that's dry, we can apply Mordant Earth. The instructions on the bottle say give it a couple hours. I don't have hours, but what I do know is I can push paint to dry faster with heat. Fortunately, my blow dryer died, but I do have a propane torch. It's a little extra heat. What could go wrong? I think this plan is gonna work.
This plan C can't possibly fail!
By the doctor's orders, we are to apply the heat on the affected area. Now it's time to apply. Ooh, this is drying very nice. Unfortunately, I do not see too much crackle. Maybe if we apply a little more heat, we can get it to work. What's this?
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
Abort! Abort the heat! Abort the heat! Ah!
What? What are you thinking?
Well, that didn't work. Time to turn to plan B.
Do you have a plan B?
This feels like deja vu. Okay, rinse, repeat. Sped this up over 75 times. Apply Mordant Earth, and we wait.
2,000 years later.
Alright, it's next morning, and unsatisfying results. Fantastic.
Well, now what?
Well, guess I get to chuck this one to the side. Let's see if I can repurpose another one. Do I hear a plan C? Alright, time to reclaim this base. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to try and scrape off all of this texture paint that's already on it. My 80 grit sanding stick didn't work, so I'm going to grab a scraping tool. That managed to work. Now, I'm skipping the white primer, I'm just going straight for red because I figure the deeper red first, and then I can start putting a slightly brighter red over that, followed by an orange, and then yellow, and hopefully it'll give the effect of lava sitting under like a rock cap. Once all of that's dry, I can finally apply another paint to this. And so I'm going to be using my glow-in-the-dark paint this time, so that then it gives a glowing effect under that cap I was talking about. Once all of this is dried, I'm then going to check it with a UV light and make sure it's still reactive. Once that's done, I get to coat this thing in mordant earth like I'm icing a cake. So, after checking with the UV light, checks out, time to let it dry, and then I can get to slathering this thing. As you can see, I am liberally applying this. If I'm going to have any shot of getting the result I want, I need to cake this stuff on here. I'm going to let it sit in the back and find something else to do while it's drying. Hey look, something else to do. Alright, so now that the base is done, I can go ahead and focus on something else. Right now I want to try and highlight the dots on the wings and then go back over the carapace a little bit and touch up some of those edges. I really want to make them pop. Remember, the idea here is to try and make it look like a starry night sky, so I want to try and be a little bit liberal with the application of this glow-in-the-dark paint, because if I put it on too light, it's just not really going to hold a glow, and it's not going to react very well to a UV light. So I've decided for the smaller talons running down the back of the legs, the back of the wings, and down the arms, that I want to apply this glow-in-the-dark paint. Now, it's not going to look too impressive in normal lighting conditions, but under a black light, UV light, or when it's glowing, it's really going to stand out, and it's really going to push it over the top.
One eternity later.
Alright, time to check out the base. A little warning, I did find some heat. It's not the blowtorch. I've used a blow dryer and it got just hot enough that it deformed the edge of the base just a little bit. But I applied a little bit of heat, used some surgical forceps, and I managed to get it all back into alignment to where it's all nice and good. So now I can go ahead and put the mini on the base and we can see the end result. I'm really, really excited to share this with you. Now for the finishing touches. For the tongue, I'm applying Croxagore Blue and the Croxagore Scales contrast. I'm mixing that with some super bright white, and then I'm going to apply that on the tongue. I feel like that just ties in with my Tyranids very well. And then once all that's done, I'm putting just the chef's kiss on this one by using Uhu glue. It's going to create a drool effect. I'm going to dribble a little bit of paint down that as well, so it's blue, and then I'm going to tie in the tips of the sides down to the base, dribble some paint on that as well. That's going to be glow in the dark as well, so that really all ties in together. It's going to look fantastic. For those of you wondering just how long this sort of takes, the total video time was over 4.5 hours. Total clock time was a little over 2.5 days. It was my first time working with Mordant Earth. I honestly had no idea how liberal I had to apply it. I actually had to do some research on it, but I gotta say, the results speak for themselves. This thing looks fantastic, and I'm blown away with how this turned out. Thanks everybody for joining me today. This has been one hell of an experience. This is new for me, painting with all of this stuff. I want to say thank you to all of you who tuned in to watch this and stayed this long in the video. I truly appreciate y'all. Please, please, please go check out Complexus Autista and his channel. He makes some fantastic work. Thank you, Complexus Autista, for giving me the opportunity to paint with you, and I hope to see y'all in the next one.